morning and welcome to Cover 2 Cook. We're on episode 185 as we're going to be talking about the NFL Sunday night games and the Monday night games as well. We'll also give Tim's best bets results. Hopefully he went 4-0. It doesn't sound like he did. We'll tell you who's playing in the divisional rounds, and then we'll switch gears for a second to go to college football. A lot's happening with the transfer portal. We're going to kind of name some of the players that have chosen their next team and who's the biggest asset for those teams. So let's get it started.
Yeah. I was going to do a vertical jump there. Thank you, Sox.
Travel been to Indiana, and did Cover 2 Cook get you a good hotel?
Indiana? No, I'm in Louisiana. I'm here for Mardi Gras.
I know that this might be hard, but I don't know how much you remember Friday night since we left you damn near when you fell asleep.
I got my belly full, man. I was like, I warm covers and warm. I was like, I could go to sleep right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Jack Dorsey.
Final answer?
Yes. All right.
This is going to be a long fucking day.
Welcome back to Cover 2 Cook. We're on episode 185. I'm here with Anthony and Tim, and we had a weekend full of football, but we still have a couple games to recap. Let's talk about Sunday Night Football, the Chargers versus Patriots. Tim, how did this game go?
Well, it started out, and I think the biggest deal for the Chargers, their O-line did not give. I know they were down a couple tackles, but they did not give Herbert any time to throw. That defense for New England was stepped up, got pressure on them. They were giving up sacks, and they just made Herbert look miserable back there. Also, another thing too is they failed on turnovers. They got that turnover down there, got the ball close, and then they just kicked a field goal. I mean, they had to get better at it to do this, and they didn't. I think the OC in LA is probably gone. I think he needs that Greg Roman. I think they need something different. I think they need something to what he does good. They need to expand on that, and not taking all these hits and their offense looks stale. I really do think it's running the ball, which that's Jim Harbaugh. Run the ball and they started at the beginning of the year, passed the ball quite a bit. But then they kind of went back to the old way of Jim Harbaugh, and everybody just loaded the box up. I think for the Patriots, their offense did just enough. I think they look rusty. I think you could tell he is a second-year quarterback. I'm hoping that doesn't translate for Bo Nix after having a week off coming up this weekend. But, I mean, Stevenson, they have no receivers whatsoever. Nothing that they could stretch other than Stephon Diggs. But Stevenson out of the backfield has 73 yards receiving, 53 yards rushing. But their defense, their front four got to Herbert. And, I mean, I think they have 6 sacks, and they were blitzing pressure all night long. He didn't know where they was coming or going. And it was not really an ass kicking, but it was you knew that the Patriots, there was no doubt that the Patriots were going to win.
Yeah.
Which it just kind of felt like the Chargers, like they felt stale. They felt flat. Yeah. It didn't seem like it was a high-intensity game for them. But, Anthony, let me get your thoughts on this.
Yeah, so we heard all the week leading up to it that this is a great matchup for the Chargers. This is great. The defense for the Patriots doesn't get pressure. Well, they proved them wrong. Mike Vrabel, this was a Mike Vrabel defense right today. Yeah. They got after them. You said put pressure, but even contesting every pass that came out of Justin Herbert when he had to run for his life. I don't know how Justin Herbert does it. I truly don't. How does he wake up the next morning and say, "Oh, I get to play for the Chargers. Yay." It's another moment for the Chargers where in the playoffs and right out of the playoffs. Like, they can book their trip as soon as they get in the playoffs because they're right out. I know people are coming after Justin Herbert. I feel like that man did more than whatever he could with that O-line the way it was. On the other side, I definitely agree with you. The Patriots offense has to get better, has to play better. I think there is rustiness, but is it because the Chargers defense is a solid defense and it held the Patriots down a little bit? I think if the Patriots come against one of these Denver Broncos, they get away from, or the Texans this upcoming week, like that defense is going to come after them. I hope Drake May's ready for it because I just think they're a year too early. So if they do lose this upcoming weekend, it's not because they weren't good. It's just they're a year early.
Yeah.
Also, too, I think the Chargers in the offseason, in the draft, got to go after some more O linemen because that's what's killing them, right?
Yeah.
The two that are out, Alt and I can't think of the other guy's name. That's killing him. He had no protection whatsoever. He was running for his life the whole goddamn game, and that's not a great New England defense.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good, but it's not great. It's not a Houston Texans defense.
See, I think they got to get a wide receivers. I think they have to give Herbert more options. Keenan Allen has been good this year, but not great. Lad McConkey has fallen off earth.
That's the one.
If there's a flat earth theory, he is on the edge of it and he's jumped off because there's nowhere to find him. I think their O-line's good. It's just the problem is the injuries this year. Joe Alt is a solid left tackle, and I think it's Slater is the right tackle.
Yep.
He was out. Like, they have a good O-line if they're healthy. So I don't know if you would spend an early draft pick for him, maybe later in the draft, but you got to go get wide receivers. You got to give him playmakers. Matthew Golden that for the Green Bay saw this year. Someone that could stretch the field a little bit just so that when he does get out of these sacks and they're like, oh, they almost got him, he chucks that ball down there because he's got the arm.
Yeah.
But I definitely agree. I think it's time to clear house on the coordinators. Maybe keep the defense coordinator. Obviously, keep Harbaugh. But I think the offense coordinator has to go. It's just the same offense it's been for the past 5 years, it feels like.
Well, and the bad deal is Jesse Minter might get a head coaching job. That's the bad deal.
Yeah. A lot of head coaching positions.
Coordinator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of vacancies recently. But if you're talking about good defenses and you're talking about Herbert having a hard time staying off the ground, let's switch over to this Monday night game with the Texans versus Steelers. I don't know how Aaron Rodgers does it, but Anthony, please talk me through this game.
Yeah, we led up into this week. So we talked about, it's the Chargers and it's a good matchup. Oh, Aaron Rodgers doesn't lose on Monday nights. The Steelers don't lose on Monday nights. Mike Tomlin don't lose on Monday nights. Yeah, boys, you got a belt to the ass. That Texans defense came after them at all. Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson probably gave Aaron Rodgers nightmares after that game. And then Troy Aikman, well, he could have ran right there. He's 42 years old. Where was he going to go? I don't understand that. I will say that the offense for the Texans started out slow. Don't love the Nico Collins getting carted off the field because of a concussion. That looked like a bad one. Your concussions now are not just, they'll be back next week. It could be a couple weeks. If he's not playing, that's really going to help or hurt the Texans offense. Woody Marks had a great game in this one, but it's that defense. And Aaron Rodgers might have been his last throw was a pick six to end that game. Aaron Rodgers, we talked about most sacked. The guy just, he couldn't even take a step after he got the ball without getting hit. They made their offensive linemen look so bad in the Steelers. I don't care where they would have played that game. I don't care what time of day, doesn't matter what. Texans just ass whooped the Steelers and good win by Texans. And I honestly think if that defense plays the way it is, they might make it to the Super Bowl.
Thank you for validating my team's choice.
I didn't say that offense would get them to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I said that defense.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, I didn't either. I said their defense.
Yeah.
And then somebody went to chime in about somebody else's heart on the field. So let's just make it clear. No, I totally agree. The Texans totally took this game by storm. They didn't give Aaron Rodgers a chance, really. It didn't seem like it. Constantly getting hit and having to pick himself back up. Even if it was a throw, they were still running through him. So it was just like he just constantly was on the ground. I'll have to look up now that his season's over where he's at with sacks in his career. But I can't imagine ending my, athletic life with a pick six or with an error like that. Like, I would come back. I would face all of these teams again, face getting sacked 100 times again to end on a better note, because that's just going to eat away at you.
I do have one question. How many downs have you played for football?
You know what?
That's all I have to say. It's a lot. It's a lot of an off
I
season.
get it.
It's a lot for.
he was already kind of teasing of like coming back again. So I think he's willing to go through it. That's my opinion. And honestly, with how long he's strung along this year to sign with the team, I think he's willing to do that again.
Maybe.
Well, Tim, tell me your thoughts. What did you think about this game?
This was actually a close game into the fourth quarter. I mean, it was only a 16-6 game.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at it, if you look by the score, they were still within it. But then that Houston defense just started going after him, and then they got to pick two big. I mean, yes. I mean, you're 10 for 15 on third downs. You have 408 yards of total offense. Houston did. That's what you got to have. I think if they can get that, now the Nico Collins deal kind of scares me because now he doesn't have anybody. I mean, he had Christian Kirk last night. I think he had 130-some yards, or I can't remember. And Woody Marks, he had. But if you get a good defense that can shut that down, I think Houston goes as far as C.J. Stroud can take them. I really do, because I think that defense will keep them in a lot of games. I think for Pittsburgh, they got in the offseason, I don't know. There's not a quarterback out there unless they can trade up, which they have not been notorious for not doing. Maybe they tank next year, and then go after a quarterback. I think they've got to go after one. I know they tried that before with Kenny Pickett, but there's got to be a change because they've got to get a quarterback. Period. I think the defense is okay, but I think that the quarterback, maybe get rid of some of your salary. Pittsburgh fans, I know you don't want to hear this. Maybe trade T.J. Watt for some draft capital. Maybe. Just something, because they've got to have a restart on this. Or maybe, who's a free agent at the end of the year? Malik Willis. Maybe there'd be a stopgap until you can get a decent quarterback. Somebody like that. But yeah, that Rodgers is done. Hang it up, buddy. I did hear through some of the deals that maybe he could be like a Phillip Rivers, not in 5 years, but maybe somebody that would need a quarterback, let's say week 12, week 13, and can come in.
Yeah, they said the same thing about Tom Brady. I think once he hangs it up, you'll never see Aaron Rodgers again.
I totally agree.
And I'll say this too. I don't know if you heard, but they brought in fans dressed up as Texans fans during Pittsburgh's practices this week so that DK Metcalf could get used to fans heckling him since the last time.
Boy.
Now, I don't know if that's true or not. I saw that on the internet. I hope it is true. But the biggest disappointment, you want to say the O-line, you want to say the quarterback, all this. DK Metcalf, they went after him quick, and then he couldn't make these catches, and then he dropped one. Like, you sat 2 games. They got him barely because you weren't playing, and then it's now your time to shine. And this offense for Pittsburgh just looked so out of order. Like, whether it was just a quick dump down to Gainwell and it's getting dropped, whether it's whatever, Pat Freiermuth down the middle and it's in triple coverage. It just was not a great game, or even play calling. I felt like they just kept doing the same things, and the Texans just ran it up on them. And I know you're saying that based on the stats, it looked like this. This was one of those games where the whole game I was like, the Texans, I mean, they just got to score 7 points and they're going to win this game. Right. I mean, they kick a field goal, they win this game because of how bad the offense for the Steelers was. I don't see them getting rid of TJ Watt, not when you go through all that controversy of paying him. I could see them possibly moving on from DK, because what's it like to have a good wide receiver if you ain't got a quarterback to throw it? So, right. But they need a lot more than just a quarterback. They need some more options, either at wide receiver. Darnell Washington and then Jonnu Smith, wasn't that supposed to be? That didn't become anything. It just, I don't know. I don't like how they play football. I just don't. And I know Pittsburgh Steelers fans will hate me for what I'm saying, but I just think they're playing 1980s games when we're playing in 2026. Like, we got to have the ball down the field. You got to stop just being like, we're going to run the ball down your throat. You're not going to, and you're not going to win games.
Well, there's a lot of news happening in the Steelers world, because we have breaking news that Mike Tomlin has decided to step down as head coach. So now not only are they out a quarterback next year, but now they don't have a head coach. That's crazy. Tim, what do you think about this?
I kind of seen the writing on the wall. I mean, especially after the game that they had last night, I think it was not them firing him. I think it was him saying, maybe it's time for a change. I think it's time for a change, and maybe a different, kind of like on Harbaugh's deal. They needed somebody, another person in there a different person. 19 years, never had a losing record. But when you lose 7 playoff, the last time you won a playoff game was 2016. That's almost 10 years ago. Maybe it's time for a change. 7 straight losses in the playoffs. Yikes.
Yeah.
You won 1 Super Bowl and you won it with Ben Roethlisberger, which wasn't even your quarterback. It was Cowher's quarterback. So I think it was just time for a change. I hope the next coach that they get is offensive minded. Tomlin was defense. If they do go after another defense guy, they've got to get Arthur Smith was not the guy anyway for their OC. I mean, he was terrible as a coach down in Atlanta. Well, and then they have him as the OC. I don't know, but I think their next coach should be an offensive mind.
Well, and I remember a couple episodes back, before I kick it to you, Anthony, we talked about how the Steelers are a different type of brand. They're more, respectful, more, higher class, you could say, of like, they're not just going to rip the ripcord out of you. It was more, I thought it was like a classy decision for him to decide to step down instead of the organization just firing them like they have for everybody else. So maybe that ends on better terms. Maybe that'll perk new ears. But Anthony, let me get your opinion.
Yeah, so they don't fire anyone. They don't do that. They don't do like that. The last coach that's been fired, even the offensive coordinators and defense coordinators don't get fired. That's not their brand. I think this was Tomlin doing it so that the Steelers didn't have to do it. Now, this makes the AFC North wild. No Harbaugh, no Tomlin. That's the face of the AFC North for so long. Then the GM for the Ravens finds out that Tomlin steps down, and he, in a press conference, goes, "Man, wouldn't that be crazy if John went over there?" Like, that just made him nervous as shit. Now, hold on. Since Tomlin stepped down, the only way he could be coaching is if a team trades for him. Right. Because he did not get fired. He stepped down, which pretty much solidifies he's done coaching, because the trade whole thing would be a mess. I think he's going to go into like pregame TV. I think you could see him on Fox or CBS. Would be kind of cool to see him next to Bill Cowher, even though those are supposedly not the greatest friends. But the whole reason Aaron Rodgers came to Pittsburgh was for Mike Tomlin, right? So Mike Tomlin's stepping down. So that pretty much means Aaron Rodgers ain't coming back to the Steelers if he comes back. And then is it the D lineman Campbell? No,
Cam Hayward.
Cam Hayward, isn't he? Oh, I'm here because of Tomlin. All right, so Tomlin's gone. I think there's just a big transition coming in Pittsburgh. Whether it's T.J. Watt's the face of Pittsburgh going forward because they ain't got nobody else. But yeah, this was him making this decision so that Pittsburgh did not have to make it for him. And that's, hey, we'll let you do what you need to do, but when the time comes, just take yourself out to the back pasture. Don't make us take you there.
Well, Anthony, they've only had 3 coaches in 60 years.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just something they don't do is fire coaches. They don't go on a whim. They stay loyal to their coaches and anybody that works for them in their organization. 3 coaches and the Giants can't even say that, and they've been around longer than probably Pittsburgh has been around. They go through 3 coaches in 3 years.
Well, and I think this is a part of the commitment. We will be committed to you, but when the time comes and we say, "Hey, what are you thinking?" That's your sign. You need to be leaving because we're ready to move on.
Right.
So there has to be somewhat of a mutual, like, "Hey, like we're done, so you need to go," because if not, the coaches would stay forever. They'd be on their deathbed out there coaching.
Well, I tried to ask Anthony earlier today and, work got in the way for us. But I was curious, does a vacancy like this where there's no quarterback and a new head coach needing, is that more like, are you more interested in a position like that because you get to pick your quarterback, or would you rather have a quarterback in sight like that?
I think
give you the time to answer now.
I think you would rather have a quarterback there just for now, because then you can always use it as a crutch as a coach, being like, "Well, I didn't pick that guy." But this coach is going to start with it while the team this year just made it to the playoffs. So you don't got a great draft pick. So I actually don't see Pittsburgh as an intriguing job because of there's so much expectations. I mean, they literally did fire Tomlin chance after 19 winning seasons. Like, what are you going to do on year one when you're losing and you have a losing streak? Like, what are you going to do? I don't think this is one. I don't see Harbaugh actually going there. I think they're going to have to grab an offensive or defensive coordinator to come head coach there, and that's what Mike Tomlin was though too. Let's remember that. Mike Tomlin was a defensive coordinator for the Vikings.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure before he came over to the. So that's who they're going to have to go grab.
Okay. Well, Tim, let me ask you that same question.
They just don't. I mean, I don't know. I don't see. Sean Payton did it. I'll just say Denver right behind me. They went out and he didn't he didn't pick his own player. I think Russell was there before they picked a coach, and he didn't like what was going on and said, "Adios, I want my own guy." And I think that's what a lot of these coaches, just like GMs with coaches for quarterbacks. It's a trickle down effect. They want their guy. Because if I'm going to get fired, I want to get fired on my terms, not on somebody else's players.
Yeah.
So I think I really do think that. Yeah, I think the next coach in there can pick his own quarterback, whether that's through free agency or going through the draft, which we know through the draft this year. And there ain't a whole lot of quarterbacks out there to be drafted.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, that would be interesting to see how the Steelers decide to fill these big positions. All right, well, let's move over to the results of Tim's best bets. How did we do this week?
Well, we started out with the Packers, and then I lost again with the Buffalo, but then I did come back with the Patriots, and then I had the Steelers last night, 1-3. Well, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty, boys and girls, of getting that 4-0. We only got a couple weeks left. I'm hoping next weekend, next weekend is the weekend that I go 4-0. I have to.
You have to.
If not, we're going to have to call a reliever in. Next year, we're going to need someone else to come in to do the betting segment because, Jesus, you can't do 1 week of 4-0?
Yeah.
No. It is. And this is the problem about playoff games. You just don't know what team. Jags, I didn't expect them to be as bad as they played. You didn't expect the Steelers to play as bad as they did yesterday. So it is what it is. 1-3. You'll keep your name because we only get one more week, but better go 4-0.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. I predicted 2 of these. I still got both my teams in. And I didn't have a bye week, Mr. Tim. I didn't have both my teams on bye.
Yeah.
I picked.
Yeah, but one of ours is going down in the NFC.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be mine.
I'll be the winner on that one.
Yeah,
I'll be on the top. All right. Well, let's talk about these next division round games. Anthony, talk about these games for me.
Yep, so we're not going to go in depth. We'll go in depth later in the week, but the Bills will be playing the Broncos on Saturday afternoon. The 49ers and the Seahawks go Saturday night. And then you got Texans versus Patriots Sunday afternoon. And then Rams versus Bears Sunday evening. These games are at the Bears, Patriots, Seahawks, and Broncos. So Browns, that's crazy. They're never in the playoffs. But home games, we'll see how this rolls because a lot of home teams won this past week, but some upsetting road teams. So can the road team actually get a win at these locations? We'll find out.
Well, and hopefully you don't have the college football bye week error there, huh?
Yeah, maybe a little rust coming from Denver.
And here's the bad news, Anthony. Your niece Lily is playing a volleyball game at 2:00 in Fairbury. So I got to go there I'm staying for one game, and then I got to get back for Denver.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an hour drive there and an hour drive back for a half-hour volleyball game. So,
Well, good luck. Good luck. We live in Wisconsin, so won't be making that one. So.
All right, well, let's transition over to college football. We have some exciting news happening here. First, we need to talk about Marcus Freeman in the news this past week. Anthony, please walk us through this. What happened here?
Yeah, so there was allegations that there was an aggravated battery, and so people were like, whoa. If you've ever listened to Marcus Freeman, that is the farthest thing from the truth that I ever thought of. Now there's video coming out. Obviously, he's not going to get prosecuted on this. Won't face charges for any of it. It was his kid at a wrestling thing. And he took his kid away from the situation, which is a great parent out of the whole situation. Instead of the kid getting involved in the problems, he takes him out. Him and his wife were there. Like, if you know Marcus Freeman, this is just the farthest thing from the truth. I will say, though, it did scare the shit out of me because this is the stuff that gets you fired. 100%. There's no, and definitely at Notre Dame, they're not going to play around. I don't care if you can win them a national championship or not. They're not going to play around. It also did feel a little targeted since his name is still coming up for NFL coaching positions, even though he's already said he's going to stay at Notre Dame. It felt like it was like well, guess what? You're definitely not getting an NFL coaching job now because we're going to slander your name. Marcus Freeman, stay at Notre Dame. We love you, but glad to know that nothing's going to come out of that one.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like they were quick to being like, okay, no, he was not involved. Like
there
they
was
were
video.
Yeah.
I mean, when there's video, that's the ultimate proof. That's going to end it all anyways right there. And it's obvious. I know it's kind of a blurry video. I've seen the video. It's a little blurry, but Marcus Freeman. I mean, I'm going to say right now, not many players or people in this world look as great as Marcus Freeman does. So, yeah, just shame on whoever's trying to go after him.
Yep, definitely. Alrighty, well, let's talk about this transfer portal. We got some people moving around and committing to new teams, so let me go through it and get you guys' feedback. We have Dylan. Okay, and bear with me with these names because I am not. We have Dylan Raiola, who now picks Oregon as his commitment. Sam Levitt went to LSU. Cam Coleman, who was a number 1 wide receiver player in the transfer portal, picks Texas. And then both Alabama defensive players, James Smith and Qua Rasaw, picks Ohio State. So, how do you guys feel about that so far? Is this understandable? Did you predict these to happen?
Oh, you go first.
I think that the Raiola one is a good pickup because not just shows you right there that Dante Moore's not coming back next year. Which I don't. I mean, why would he go there if he's going to be there too? I think Dante Moore's gone, which I think he should stay another year. I think he should have done the Manning deal, Arch Manning, and stayed another year. I think he needs another year of seasoning. But yeah, I think that's the biggest one. That was just showing the writing on the wall that I think Dante Moore's gone at Oregon.
I think you got to remember Dylan's hurt. He broke his leg, femur or whatever. So he's hurt. I can see Dante coming back. He's going to redshirt, get an extra year out of it all. And they got not just another quarterback. They got another quarterback right behind when you just had Dylan Gabriel the year before. Right. I think that's the biggest one. We knew Sam Levitt was going to head to LSU. And then, the rich keep getting richer over in Texas. But at the same time, just don't find themselves in the playoffs very often. So, Cam Coleman, I would love to see him in Notre Dame, uniform. But at the same time, just didn't happen that way.
Well, it looks like Manning's going to be able to use his arm and throw it to this wide receiver.
They better.
We shall see. But I did have some news on some Notre Dame transfers that I knew I wanted to especially call out. They now have Quincy Porter from Ohio State, who was a former 5-star recruit. They have Jaden Sanders, who was a CB
cornerback.
From Michigan, and DJ McKinney, who is also a cornerback from Colorado. They also picked up Keenan Keeley, who is an edge rusher from Alabama. So it's good to see that they're doing something good here. They're picking up some transfers. They got the time on their side now because this time last year they were focused on playing. So it's good that they're dipping their toes in this transfer portal. What do you think about it, Anthony?
You have to. You have to. I don't care. It's a national thing right now. I don't care if you're the best and the biggest and the brightest star in college football with being the Notre Dame logo. We don't play in bowl games, whatever. You have to play the game that everyone else is playing. It's good to see. The Quincy Porter is nice. I think there was some better wide receivers out there to get. I think that's what Notre Dame needs with CJ Carr obviously showing he could throw the ball the way he can. I'm actually a little surprised that they didn't go get like a good running back with all the, you got Love and you had the running back situation there. Maybe they really believe in the one that's coming up, but it is good to see the edge rusher. I really like that, the Keon Keeley, I think from Alabama. I think that's going to be a stud for Notre Dame. And then corners, if you want to get drafted and go to the NFL, come to Notre Dame.
Yeah.
So,
well, Tim, what do you think about these transfers? Are these good pickups?
I think they are because they need defense. I think their offense will be fine next year. And we found out this year their defense was a little suspect. I'm glad that they went get somebody up front and some corners to defend that pass. I think they're going to be even stronger yet next year by picking up all these defensive guys.
Well, yeah, and we actually forgot about a person in the earlier, that Brandon Sorsley going to Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Reportedly making $5 million. Just to put that in retrospect, Shedeur Sanders' rookie deal in the NFL is 4.6. This man is making more money in college than he is in the NFL.
Why do you think Trinidad Chambliss wanted to get a 6th year for next year? Because he knows he ain't going to be able to make that in the NFL, but he can make it at Ole Miss or wherever else he goes.
Well, and that's why I like to see Notre Dame's doing something, because let's not act like Notre Dame's not NIL-ing it. They're not doing it. Like, come on. But, like, you want to be this national brand, this image, you got to play the game like everyone else is. I just wish they would, instead of just putting your toe in the water, just dive in. Like, get Marcus Freeman out there with these transfer portals. People, and I'm telling you right now, they will not pick a different coach over Marcus Freeman. Marcus Freeman, how many other college coaches are you hearing their names in the NFL? I'm not really hearing anyone else. I'm hearing Marcus Freeman's name. You get these players in front of them. I wish it would. Come on. I gave my $20 donation. Let's go. Let's get some of these players.
I think, Anthony, they're looking at a little more zeros than 20.
Well, you know what? I can't do it. So.
Just saying.
All right. Well, that is episode 185. As we talked about some NFL, as we had the Sunday night, Monday night football, we come back on Thursday, where we'll be talking about the matchups of the divisional round of NFL. And then on Sunday, when we record for Monday's podcast, we'll talk about the national championship. People, there's 5 games left, 6 games left, there's 7, whatever. I don't even know. There's not many left. Sit down and enjoy them. And enjoy while you can, because the playoffs are great. Great football will be happening in the NFL. Great Monday night football game for the college football. So if you like what we do, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. I know before I close, we have to give a big shout out to one of our followers. His birthday will be today, Mr. Liam Cook. He's always giving us likes and stuff like that, so we appreciate him so much. But happy birthday. If you like what we do, follow us on all those. Have a great rest of your week. We will talk to you on Friday.